Malaysia, there is a shortage of knowledge on diet of lactating sheep and goats. This breed cannot perform well without understanding their dietary nutrition requirement for different psychological periods, as dairy breeds need different amount of energy for maintenance, lactation, and development. TMR is the most effective method for balancing animal nutrient and improving nutrient utilization. As a result, TMR is used in which animals are fed a diet that includes both forage and concentrates and provide all the required nutrients. TMR feeding has many advantages over traditional feeding, particularly in terms of dietary intake, BMI, milk yield, and meat composition. Hence, the current research aims to determine the nutritional value of TMR ingredient as well as to evaluate the effect of pelleting on the nutritional content of TMR. Problem statement: since the TMR feeding system is not practical for small herds, it is vital to track high moisture ingredient daily. Animal can store ingredient, the feed can become overheated and spoiled, and the feed cannot be kept for a prolonged period. The high moisture content of TMR encourage mold and yeast developed in the presence of nutrients. Objective: first, to determine the nutritional value of feedstock of TMR pellet. To formulate the TMR pellet for pre-weaning and the post-weaning goat based on the optimal TMR formulation. To evaluate the effect of pelleting process on the nutritional content of TMR. For the hypothesis, in Malaysia, there is no development and guideline in converting the TMR into TMR pellet, specializing for different lactating and weaning stage of dairy goods. Therefore, it is hypothesis that there is no significant difference between the unpelleted TMR and TMR pellet of nutrition content, and there is a significant difference between the unpelleted TMR and TMR pellet on the nutritional content. For the literature review, I'm gonna review about total mixed ration TMR and total mixed ration TMR pellet. TMR is a feeding system for dairy ruminants. The aim of TMR diet is for each rumen to absorb the necessary amount of nutrients in each bite. The rumen's diet should consist of high-quality forage, a balanced grain and protein diet, as well as vitamins and minerals. The activity can be split into groups using a TMR diet, such as at least 3 milk production groups and 1 dry rumen's group. By kind total mixed ration pellet, TMR effective fattening land instead of conventional loose concentrated plus forage. TMR pellet have a lower moisture content, making them easier to prepare, handle, ship, store, and eat. Owing to the lower moisture content of the substance, there should be minimal or no spoilage or losses due to the microbial fermentation. Since pellets are tightly bound during the pelleting process, they are less likely to be separated by animals or separated during processing, feeding, packaging, and transporting and unloading. This pellet has a high dry matter volume, making them easier to feed animals more precisely than conventional TMR, since could have a higher and volatile moisture content. For the methodology, first method is total mixed ration, ingredients, and experimental diet. All of ingredients was from local products, which was ordered and received 1 month before research was started, while napier grass was ordered and received with 3 different dates and 60 kg fresh napier grass each time of order. Then, fresh napier grass was put into the oven 105°C and left for 2 days, and the formulation was fermented using beef. Next, the preparation of TMR pellet. First is mixing. To improve mixing and feed use, ingredient was grounded to the appropriate particle size. After 2 days, dry napier grass was ground into small size using grinder machine in the animal lab to make all the ingredients mix well during mixing process. Few ingredients also undergoes grinding process into small pieces. All components measured and transferred to the mixer were shaken together for 10 minutes. The component was inserted gradually, which started with smaller particle size to bigger size of ingredient, and lastly molasses was put evenly. Pelleting. The mixed ingredient then gradually poured into the pelleting machine, extruding TMR formulation grinds into a circular cross-section die-generated pellet. The frictional heat of die during pelleting caused the rise in temperature. By forced air into the pellets, they were cooled into room temperature for 30 minutes. Next is persimmon analysis of feed sample. Water, ash, crude protein and eaten extract, and crude fiber. The 5 ingredients used to participation nutrient in feed. The dry matter DM, crude protein CP, crude fiber CF, eaten extract EE, and ash content of each TMR sample all measured. Lastly, data analysis. The data was analyzed using independent t-test, whereas the Leibniz test for homogeneity varies in SPSS statistic used to distinguish the dreaming means at the 95% confidence level, P less than 0.05. The data will be obtained as mean standard error, SE. Result and discussion. Chemical composition of TMR ingredient. As you guys can see, this is the data of TMR ingredient for soybean meal, sodium bicarbonate, sodium chloride, copra milk, soya hulk, mineral premix, PKC, rice bran, molasses, dry napier grass, and corn. Effect of pelleting on nutritional value of TMR for pre-weaning goat. This table is about chemical composition of TMR for pre-weaning goat. The result from specimen analysis indicate that both CTMR and TMRP for pre-weaning goats contain higher dry matter content as well as lower in moisture content. Previous study reported that commercial pellet was developed and formulated with low water content, which was less than 30% in order to enhance for long-term storage. Low 2018. This finding enhanced our understanding about animal feed and conservation, which contain ingredients that can deteriorate over time. The result of study reveals that there is a clear difference between of dry matter content percentage between of each of the sample composition. For DM analysis, the higher DM content is 94.86, 0.63% that were from sample TMP. This because the DM content increased after undergoes high pressure and high temperature. Next, the fiber content of the CTMR and TMRP is above the minimum CF criteria for pre-weaning goods, which are around to 50%. Predict 2020. The explanation for this is that Predict 2020 observed that a greater percentage of effective fiber increased rumen motility, muscularization, and rumen volume, and that this skin had a thicker rumen muscle layer. The higher CF content is 175.82%, 90.69% for sample CTMR and followed by sample TMRP, which is 30.88% and 4.80%. This huge difference between CTMR and TMRP might cause by pelleting and molding, which high pressure and temperature cause CF content loss. Curve plotting. CP content in TMR for pre-weaning goats. TMRP nutritionally contain higher CP, which up to 3.7% than CTMR. According to the Zong et al. 2018, CP content in sample increased due to the pelleting. Ahmed et al. 2020, the CP digestibility of a compound pellet feed was significantly increased when compared to its match and conventional feed. The high temperature and the high pressure during pelleting process might trigger increasing CP content in TMRP. The E content in the sample is categorized between CTMR and TMRP. The higher E content in the sample is from sample CTMR with the value of, you can see in the table, and the least is from sample TMRP with the value of in the table. The fat requirement for pre-weaning goat was around 3% of EE content in the diet by Predict et al. 2020. The p-value of EE content between the sample TMR sample is 0.12 respectively to the composition of the sample, which higher than 0.05. This shows that there is no significant difference between both samples. The ash content in the sample is higher at 5.98, 17.86% from the sample TMRP, and the lowest is 4.46, 3.6% from the sample CTMR. There is no significant value from between sample because p-value is 0.05. This was because of pellet had high organic material as either ignited or completely oxidized, leaving an inorganic residue. By Ismail in 2017, CTMR has lower ash content because high CF content that easily oxidized instead of TMRP, which hardly oxidized. Then, moisture. On the other hand, CTMR was significantly higher in water content, about 8% compared to TMRP, since TMRP undergoes pelleting process, which caused moisture loss in sample. This was agreed by Lewski et al. 2020. During pelleting, the average moisture in the pellet material fell by 0.50%. Moisture in the material bonding compaction promote bonding via van der Waals forces, result in a larger particle contact area. The pellet density was strongly impacted by compressive force, particle size, and moisture content of 12 to 15%. Next, chemical composition of TMR for post-weaning goat. According to the result of proximate analysis, both CTMR and PTMR for post-weaning goods had higher DM content and lower moisture content. According to the previous study, commercial pellets were designed and prepared with a low water content of less than 30% to improve long-term storage by Rule 2016. This study's findings show that there is a significant variance in DM content percentage between each of the sample composition. For DM analysis, the sample CTMRP had the higher DM concentration, sample CTMR has a greater CF content followed by the sample TMRP, which is more than enough for post-weaning good feeding. Pelleting and molding, which produce CF content lost due to its high pressure and temperature, may be the source of large disparity between CTMR and TMRP. Pelletized diet, on the other hand, showed that a higher CF legibility than unpelleted feed, according to Islam 2017. The CF content was thought to be lost during the pelleting process, according to the study. Crude protein analysis. Only TMRP has the sample with the highest CP count value. Due to the combination of shade, heat, residence time, and water used in feed processing, partial denaturing of the protein in the feed might occur, resulting in enhanced digestibility. Heating increases the digestibility of protein by inactively enzyme inhibitors and denaturing the protein, perhaps exposing new enzyme attack sites by Islam 2017. The E content of the sample is divided into two categories, which is CTMR and TMRP. CTMR has the greatest E content in the sample, while sample TMRP has the lowest. The p-value of E content between TMR sample and its composition of the sample is 0.05. Although the composition of the sample is greater than 0.05, this demonstrates that there is a significant difference in the value between the two samples. The sample with the greatest ash content is from the sample CTMR, while the sample with the lowest from the sample TMRP. Because of p-value is greater than 0.05, there is no significant difference between the sample. Unpelleted has a lot of organic stuff which become burnt or totally oxidized, leaving an organic residues by Ismail 2017. This might be attributed to the fact that the material residue in CTMR was greater than in TMRP. In comparison to the TMRP, TMRC had a much greater water content of roughly 9%, owing to the pelletizing procedure, which caused moisture loss in the sample. According to the Whiskey et al. 2020, the average moisture in the sample may reduced by 0.50% due to pelleting. According to Cha et al. 2018, the pelleting process induced moisture loss in TMRP, which is caused by pellet molding. TMRP was pressed onto a die fixed with a rotatory roll in the pellet molding machine at high temperature and high pressure. It is concluded that pelleting process or TMR increase the dry matter, property, and ash of pre-weaning TMRP, while pelleting increase dry matter and crude protein of pre-weaning TMRP. Feeding pellet TMR is a feasible strategy for intensive pre-weaning and post-weaning good operations. Thank you for watching and stay safe.